All right, how's it going, everybody? My last video was a clip about how to cope when playing players who are in the top 0.1%. So this time I wanted to do a different type of a take on that. How to gloat when you're playing players who clearly aren't in the top 0.1%. So here we have three players who are going to line up perfectly for me while I stand still out of cover. And they're just going to stand there and allow me to drop them all one by one. And I think this is super important to illustrate the technique of taking advantage of players who don't know how to move right. That's what I wanted to try and demonstrate here. I also really want to focus on this episode on the importance of luck. So for example, right here, I'm in the middle of the open. I haven't had a chance to recover. And I've got a player who's pushing me pretty close. My guess is maybe he's got a shotgun or something. Not quite sure. I've got my hand cannon out. And what I'm going to try and do is just run around aimlessly in circles and hope that something works out for me. You'll notice the player here is chasing, and I'm just going to play a little hide and seek with him. I'm just going to play a little bit of hide and seek. I'm just going to run around. I'm going to run around in a circle and hope for things to just magically. I don't have a plan, to be clear. What I want here, what I'm looking for as a skilled player, is I'm looking for him to do something different. I might toss in an air dive. I might toss an air dive in at the top of the ramp. My goal with that air dive is to confuse him. You know, it's sorcery, right? You know, if he happened to be looking there, which he wasn't, but if he was, he would have been confused, right? He'd have been like, what's going on? What's he doing? So again, luck is the biggest thing you want to work for in this game. So I'm going to try and just jump up as high as I can, get away from him, and then throw some grenades, because why not, you know? And then what I would also like to do is just hope that he just dies from the grenades magically. And I'm going to fall off the edge here, but it's okay. It's okay because I got the kill, and I did it with no skill. And that's really what I want to illustrate here. What I like here is this guy here, he's just going to stand in the middle of the open there. He might be AFK. Killing AFK players is one of the best things you can do in Destiny 2 to really ramp up your kill to death ratio, right? So he's going to stand there for me right out in the open and let me miss a couple shots and then body him to death, right? This player over here, same thing. By the way, another key tip here is definitely engage players who are already engaging other players, right? Because that way they're not looking at you, they're not paying attention, and you can just be wide out in the open, jumping around, not sliding, and you can body them to death. That is one of my favorite tips for you for Destiny 2, the way to get to the top. Here I'm going to jump up out of cover and try and snipe this guy from the middle of the air. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to body him. I'm not going to be able to land any additional hand cannon shots, but that's okay because I have a plan here, and the plan is confusion, right? Confusion. He's going to run alongside that back wall, and I'm going to rely on the fact that he's just going to let me walk around this other corner here and shoot him later. You know, you don't have to finish him off now if you can finish him off later. Where is he? I don't know. It's okay. But I know that when I get to him, he's going to stand in the middle of the open like that and let me take him out, right? And that's what you really want. You want to find those players who are just going to stand in the middle of the open and let you just take them out. If you can find those players, that's really going to be key to getting the best score you can possibly get in Destiny 2. Here I'm going to throw this ball at that window. I don't think it's actually going to hit him, but I'm going to throw it anyway, just for good measure, just to sort of, you know, again, confuse him, right? And then when the player walks out here, I have no cover. I'm going to reload while he's entering, by the way. I like this. I'm going to, hold on a second, excuse me. I'm not worried because I know that he can't hit me. You see, he can't hit me because he's not a top 0.1% player. So I've got all the time in the world that I need to reload, dance around. I still haven't pointed my gun at him and shot him the entire time this engagement is taking place. Now, I think I might actually pull my gun out and take some shots. What's my technique here? My technique here is to play someone who can't shoot at me. If I'm playing someone else and they can't hit me, I'm guaranteed a win most of the time, right? And so that's really what you got to focus on here in Rumble is you really want to just skip out of the matches. You just want to skip out of the matches where you're actually playing hard players, and you want to join into these matches where players are just going to stand in front of you like this and let you shoot them. Okay, that's really going to be your winning ticket. Your sort of, I don't know, your Wonka card, right? It's going to be your golden ticket. So right here, always toss in a grenade, right? Always toss in a grenade. I don't know where he's at. I'm just going to toss a grenade in there. Why? Because the grenade could kill him. That's why, if I'm honest, the grenade could kill him. Well, I don't know. It may kill him. I'm taking some damage here. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to let this guy just stand still in the corner there so that I can take him out. He's not by any cover, so I'm just going to take him out while he's standing in the corner. Slide down these stairs, even though there's nobody on the radar across that lane that I'm looking at, and then turn around. And then maybe go for some lunch, because I'm not really sure what's going on now. I don't really have a plan. There's nobody here. I'm all alone. So I might just go for a stroll. Slide here. I'm not going to slide across the lane. I'm just going to slide into it. Because, again, I know this player is not looking at me, which means that it's a free lunch, right? I'm going to be able to take him out, no problem. Oh, look. Someone else on the radar. You know what? I think you got the best of me. So what do you do there? You cut that clip out. What you're going to want to do is you're going to cut to this next sequence here where you have the upper hand. Please do not, whatever you do not include the footage where it didn't work out for you. If you want to show how good you are at this game, you really need to focus on cutting out the clips where you didn't succeed. And that's what I'm going to try and illustrate here as point number 2. The first rule of Destiny is don't look back, right? That's rule number 1, really. You should all memorize that rule. Once again, we're going to be looking for players who aren't going to be taking cover. They're going to be jumping up into the air, standing in the middle of the lane, and they'll just hold still for us, right? And that's really going to be the key to our success here when you're not playing the top 0.1%. So I'm going to just casually stroll in here with my sniper rifle, and I'm just going to take a look around. You know, what else is going on? Oh, look at this. A new spawn. Nothing that I love more than taking advantage of players who have just spawned in because they're disoriented, they're confused, and, it's a free lunch, right? You just pull out that immortal, and you don't even have to land all of your shots. You can shoot some at their feet. You can shoot at the wall behind them. Not a big deal because, again, you're not playing the top 0.1% here. So what I know is that I'm going to chase him, and he's going to just stand in the middle of this hallway here and wait for me, right? That's what I'm expecting to happen. And so as I come around this corner, I know that I'm not in any real danger. I don't need to really play any cover, right? I can just wait. And as soon as he's out here, I know he'll miss a couple of shots, right? So I got all the time in the world. I can miss a shot, right? I can switch to my immortal and then just throw a couple of body shots at him. I'm just going to throw a couple of body shots his way, and then I'm going to take a sip of some coffee or something. I'm just going to take a little bit of a nap, right? This is what I love is when players will just stand there. I like it when I'm peeking down a lane. I don't like the player to be behind cover. I don't like that. I don't want to play those type of players. What I like about matches like this is the players will just stand there. And that's my favorite thing about playing the not 0.1%, right? Is that the players will just run in to your submachine gun, right? They'll run into the lane instead of across the lane. They run into the lane and they miss their shots. And then what you're able to do is actually take them out. And that's really... if you want to feel good at the end of a hard day, playing the not 0.1% is the way to go. All right, sniping. Sniping against the not 1%. I like to go for crotch shots, just like that. You know what I mean? Or legs, thigh shots. I'm not sure what that was. But you don't really have to aim for the head. That's the number one thing, is you really are able to just kind of aim wherever you want, lob your rounds. Oh, yeah, look at this. AFK guy. Please, just, feed these to me all day long. Because I really like to just execute against AFK guys. And you don't have to hit that first shot. Again, you're playing the not 1%, the not 0.1%. So, just throw some bullets at his feet. Throw some bullets, to the left of him. Throw him to the right. And then when he gets that grenade in you that freezes you, you don't have to take cover, really. You can just kind of chill. Because one thing that you can be confident of is that he's not going to be able to actually take you out while you're frozen. So you're just going to wait it out. He's going to take a nap. He's going to chill over there and not actually pursue you. And again, this is one of the blessings of playing the not 0.1%, right? Is that the technique always works. That's what I find, is the technique of not playing the 0.1% is highly effective. And I think that everyone should add it to their bag of tricks, right? It's something that you want to include as part of your gameplay portfolio. You want players who, once they've frozen you with a grenade, are just going to kind of go back behind a corner and just kind of, sit it out for you. You like courteous players, right? You don't really need to be playing players who are high skill. And that's what I've really found, you know. I also like to just toss grenades down the middle of lanes because I know that the player's not going to slide across that lane, right? I know that they're not going to be tucking in behind cover. I know they're just going to stand there and wait for the grenade to hit. And that's really been a boon to my success in these last couple of matches here, and it's just something that I really wanted to call out. As you can see, dodging, cover, you know, they just get out of your way in this sort of an engagement. So if you can try and keep that in mind, I think that you'll find that you'll have a much better time in Destiny 2. You know, again, landing your shots, not important. Really not important. What I like to do is just focus on killing the players with pure luck and just sort of a brutish, bullish, confidence. You know, you just kind of want to be bold. You want to step boldly into the lane, and you just want to lob your grenades right at them. You know, just right at them or off to the side and follow it up. And then the idea is that as long as you stand there long enough and you keep shooting, eventually you'll take them out. That's what I find. You know, that's what I find. And I think that's really another pro tip is stand there and shoot until you take them out, right? I mean, because at any point you could stop. You could stop playing, but I prefer that you just stand there. Don't try to move to cover because then you might not be able to shoot them. So just stand still and continue to fire at them, and eventually you will be able to take them out. And that's really what it comes down to. You know, that's another technique. If that's a rule, I could probably add that as like rule number 3, right? Is stand still and shoot to kill. Stand still, shoot to kill. And I don't actually mean shoot to kill. I mean stand still and shoot, and eventually you'll get a kill. That's probably what I really mean. Stand still and shoot. I like this guy because he actually did me the favor of looking the other way, you know? And when you're going to knife somebody, it's really great if they could just kind of like, look the other way. Look, hey, buddy. Hey, why don't you just turn to the left a little bit? Just rotate to the left and allow me to just put this knife over here, okay? Just why don't you rotate to the left a little bit, and I'll just drop my knife, you know? Again, you do not need to be able to hit your shots. And that's really like, it's just, I can't highlight how important, how beneficial that is to this technique, is that you really just don't need to be able to shoot, right? You just kind of like shoot. Sometimes I'll just shoot at the wall. You know, like I'll just, like, there's nobody there. He's not in the lane. I'm standing in a grenade, and I might just shoot a couple of more rounds at the wall because, you know, I have that luxury. I have that freedom. This is what this really buys you. It buys you that freedom to just not be good and yet still make your way, you know, to the upper end of the match. And, you know, there's not really anything else that rivals that feeling of just sort of like walking around with no effort and just taking advantage, you know, taking advantage of the sweet, low-hanging fruit that sits in front of you, you know? It's just so much tastier, you know, when it's ripe and it's just ready to be kind of taken because it's not giving any kind of a resistance, right? It's not putting up any kind of a fight. It's not going to, like, you know, get out of the way. And sometimes it might even just like walk into your grenade. You know, like you might shoot not knowing exactly where they are, and what they may actually do is just kind of walk into your grenade, you know? And that's even better, really, if you think about it. That's one of my favorite. That's probably rule number 4 is whenever a player can walk into your grenade, take advantage. Shoot grenades randomly so that maybe one day, what I like about the snipes like that, too, by the way, you can see that he's zoomed in with something that looks like a snipe. Anyway, it looks like it's got one of those red reticles on it. What I like is that I'm out in the middle of the open. I have no cover. And there is like a very narrow lane there. And, you know, I've been moving around for several seconds, and he's still not able to line up the shot, right? That's more the type of player that I like. I don't like playing those 0.1% players where I'm around the corner for a fraction of a second and I'm being taken out. That's not really the type of player that I want to play. I really like to play those players who are just going to, you know, give me all the time in the world that I need to body them. I just like to body them down. And if they're not giving me that time, you know what? they're not worth it. You know what I mean? They're just not worth it. Those 0.1% players, they're just not worth it. They're not worth your energy. They're not worth your time. Really, if you think about it, they're not worth it. Don't let them get to you because they're not worth it. Oh, look at this. This is gold right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Take advantage of AFK players. You want that high KDA? Kill the AFK guy. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in this. Of the death of a man who has done good works, right? Yeah, look at that. Just, stand in the middle of the hallway and then just run right at me, but don't actually shoot. That's what I like. I like when they'll just run right at you and they don't actually shoot you. It makes my job so much more enjoyable. Oh, and then when you go to teabag, what I like to do, this is what I like to do when I go to teabag, is accidentally press the jump button. That's my favorite thing in the world. I like to accidentally press, it's a little bit of extra salt on the wound there when you are going to teabag and you press the jump button instead, right? Try it next time in a match and just feel the exhilaration that comes from knowing that not only did you beat them with your luck, but that you then also failed to execute a proper teabag. It's really adds salt to the wound. It's gonna really drive home the point that you are the superior player in terms of raw luck, right? And that's something that, a lot of players can't lay claim to, but you can, because you just tossed your grenade down a hallway and they walked into it. And that's really, that's one of the high points of this game. That's one of the high, like not a lot of games have that, have that, where you can just kind of like run around the map and throw this thing all over the place and people will just walk into it, We're going to lob this from 100 meters away, and we're just going to lob and pray. Lob and pray. Lob and pray. And then what we're going to do, after we do the lob and pray, what I like to do is, just, again, toss a grenade. Toss a grenade. Because if the lob and pray doesn't work, the grenade will. The grenade will if the lob and pray doesn't. And if that doesn't work, well, just ready another grenade. Because it's time for another lob and pray, folks. We're gonna come around this corner, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna lob and pray. He's sliding. He's playing correctly. We're gonna lob and pray, and we're gonna throw an ability at him because we missed our lob. Again, you've always got abilities to cover for you when you miss your shots. Then what I like to do is I really like to miss that teabag. Again, we're gonna add in a little bit of a bunny hop here because that's really what it's all about, is making sure that you put as much salt on that wound as you can. And the best way that I find that you can do that is just making sure that you flub that teabag at the end, and maybe just stand there, do a little bit of a bunny hop, and you're in. You're in. All right. Where were we? You don't need to slide. You don't need to be accurate. And you don't need to have a plan. Lob grenades, take luck, and flub the teabag. So if those are my three rules, it's lob grenades, take luck, and flub the teabag. That's how you play the not top 0.1%. Oh, and I love this, by the way, taking out players who are in the middle of a duel. I've said that already. I just want to really stress that. When you have the top two players on the board and they're dueling each other, definitely take a chance to take them out. Also, again, making sure to cut out any clips where you failed, right? You don't want those to be highlighted. You don't want those to be seen. Those are disgraceful. So you cut those out, keep it to the kills, keep it to the good action. And, if at the end of the match, you're not at the very top of the scoreboard, just cut. Just cut to the next video, right? Because you were close and you were clearly winning the whole time, so you probably won the game, right? That's how I like to think of it. Right? If I was close to the top and I was getting a lot of kills and then it just cuts to the next video, clearly I won the match. I think that's what most people would think, and that's what I'm trying to infer here when I do this. So as you can see here, we're coming up on the end of the match. I'm going to drop this guy. It's not going to be enough to put me to the top, right? And I'm going to go for one more kill, this top player, but he's going to be able to land that victory first. So what are we going to do? Well, pretty straightforward. We're going to cut. We're going to cut out. and we're going to leave that portion of the match out of the video. And that's it, guys. So again, lob your grenades, right? Take luck, and flub your tea bags. Peace out, guys.